What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to yet another video here on Ty Drives. My name is Ty behind the camera as always, and today we are checking out a 2022 Volvo XC90 with the T6 powertrain and Momentum trim level. Now in this video we're going to go ahead and do a walk around throughout the outside or the exterior of the vehicle. I'm going to pop the hood, see what's going on under there. Then we're going to move on to the interior, starting with the trunk. We'll see what the third row seats look like, second row seats, and finally the first row seats. And at the end, make sure you stick around to the end of this video, because we're going to take this car out for a test drive. I'm going to strap the GoPro to my head, and we'll see what it's like to drive this thing. But starting off with the features of the exterior, the headlights are full LED as standard. You have LED daytime running lights, high beams, low beams, turning signals, all with that sort of Thor's hammer style daytime running light unit. Really nice looking headlights. You also have headlight washers. As you can see, there are LED fog lights down below and parking sensors that span the front bumper. Really nice looking in this Seville gray color as well. You have the chrome grille with the Volvo emblem, and some air intakes up top as well as down the bottom. Taking a look up at the hood, this being a pretty large SUV, you have a pretty large hood that kind of swoops down towards the center, and you have some pretty neat lines towards the edges. We have some nice upgraded 20-inch wheels for this car. Now this is a pretty I would say fair equipped car, so it doesn't have all the packages, but it also isn't a base model. So the tires measure 275/45, and again 20-inch wheels, optional. You also have painted flares, and all the way down the side is painted trim as well. On some SUVs they'll come sort of in a kind of cheaper looking black plastic, but this is all painted. The windshield up here, the silver roof rails, have a panoramic sunroof and shark fin antenna. As far as the mirrors go, they have LED turn signal indicators and also blind spot indication as well. Smart key on all four door handles, as you can see. Press the little button to lock and then reach behind the handle to unlock. Taking a look back here, all LED for the tail lamps. Really neat sort of tall tail lamp design for the lights back here. We have a couple of notable badging back here. The XC90, the Volvo running the span below the wiper, and the T6 all-wheel drive. And then also underneath we have the trunk release and rear view camera. Pretty cool stainless steel, it looks like, bumper protector on the top. And again back here we have parking sensors. So pretty good looking exterior. What do you guys think? So very large opening provided by the hood. It also opens very high, so that's pretty cool. You have tons of space to work if you need to. Now there are basically three engine options for this car, and we have the middle one. So there's the T5, which is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. We have the T6, like this one, which is the same 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, but with the addition of a supercharger. And the T8, which is the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with the supercharger and a couple of electric motors. Now this one we have here is rated at 316 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. And with the T5 you have the addition of choosing between if you want front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, whereas with the T6 and T8 you get all-wheel drive as standard. 8-speed automatic is hooked up to all of the engine choices. And it's a very smooth powertrain. You really can't tell when the supercharger is cutting in and out. Also, to reduce noise, there's a big huge seal that goes all the way around the engine compartment. And the hood release is right over here on the driver's side. Making our way to the cargo area. The cargo lid is fully powered. And I kind of left one of the third row seats up so that you can see how much room there is behind the third row. And you can also see how much room there is behind the second row as well. Now this car has the protection package, Premier Protection Package Plus, and what that basically is they give you these rubber mats to put down here, and there's 2 extra ones. So if you fold down both the third row seats, they'll fold flat, and you put these 2 pieces over it, and it'll protect the carpeting on the seats. To fold down the rear seats, you can see you have a little latch right there. You have LED cargo lighting on either side and grocery bag hangers to either side too. And 12-volt power outlet. Little straps right here if you wanted to strap something in, and some extra storage on the side. If we open it up, you could see you have the tools and a spare tire back there. There's also one more light on the luggage lid, and there's 2 buttons up here, one to lock the vehicle and close the trunk, and one to just close the trunk. Moving on inside to the rear seats. Take a look at that wood trim on the door. That really stands out. Really nice materials on this vehicle though, so pretty much wherever you touch is going to be soft to the touch. On even the rear door panels, you have a couple of speakers and a nice soft armrest. You have your window and lock controls. Very nice use of metal and wood trim on the back. Little sill trays at the bottom too that light up at night. And pretty nice second row seats. You even have a little center console you could fold down with the cup holders. And you can either use this lever here, which will just fold the seat back forward to kind of give you a flat loading space, or there's also a lever right here to kind of tilt the seat up, and that's how you would get into the third row. We'll also move the seat forward a bit, and there is the third row seat. Now as far as things back in the third row seat, each passenger back here has a cup holder and a little storage cubby on either side too, so that's pretty cool. There's also LED lights back there. I'm going to get in really quick to show you how much room you have back here. Very solid doors and pretty upright seating position in the back too. I'm 5'10" and I have a good, I'd say 4 or 5 inches of leg room, so pretty good. This car also has the optional integrated seat booster, so you pretty much just pull a lever right here, and in the middle you pretty much have a built-in booster seat in the center. That's pretty cool. Back here you have your climate control, as you can see, individual temperatures for each side, and heated seats for both the outside seats. You also have a couple of USB-C charging inlets. Very low hump on the middle, so if you were to fit a central passenger, they'd be pretty comfy back here. You also have this little tether to individually fold the center seat from the 2 outside seats. Panoramic sunroof continues very nicely back here, as you can see, in conjunction with the headrest just about right there. You also have grab handles and LED lights up here. And finally, you can check out the driver's cockpit of this car. Now, most of the things here that you see come with the T6 Momentum as standard. Really, the only packages this car has is the climate package. So you're going to have the 3-person memory seats, which is a very nice addition. Have all of your child locks, which are actually powered for the rear, and your window controls and mirrors. Lots of storage on the driver's door too. Left of the dash, you have the air vent, a little bit of wood, the gauge dimmer, and the trunk release. You're gonna have a little felt line storage cubby in there, and as you can see, the release for the tilt telescoping steering wheels right under there. Have the pedals and the sill plate. Very comfortable seats. Volvo is really known for their comfort in their cars, and this continues that. You have full powered, so front and back of the bottom of the seat both move, and in and out for the lumbar. All right, let's hop in and check out what this car has to offer. All right, so here's the key fob you get with pretty much all Volvos that you buy nowadays. It's a pretty neat key design. The Volvo logo on the face of the key and the buttons on the side. So you have lock, unlock, trunk release on this side and panic alarm on the other. There is a physical key on the inside. You just slide this open and the key kind of comes apart, both ends, and the physical key is in there. To start, put your foot on the brake and turn the knob. So really pretty nice interior here. Very classy even for the sort of, I guess you could say, base model of this car. Plenty of features. I mean, the digital dash comes as standard, and it's just an overall classy looking interior. But as far as features go, we'll start off on the steering wheel. It is completely leather wrapped with stitching on the inside. You have nice little grips up here too, and sort of your cruise control over here, adaptive cruise control. And your media control, so up and down for the volume, skipping for the tracks, voice commands, and some more information that you get on the center display. Speaking about the center display, it is a pretty large one. I believe it's around 12 inches, so everything's digital in here. The speedometer, the tachometer, and you have a little fuel gauge at the bottom. Hopefully you won't run out of gas on our test drive. That would be an interesting thing if that happened. But you can get more information on the screen. It's not totally configurable, but you can get the navigation. Kind of the speedometer and tachometer will shrink a little bit, and you'll see the navigation in the center. But other than that, you just kind of have trip settings, and you can see what the radio's playing and whatnot. So not totally configurable, but you do have a couple of options with that. Behind the steering wheel, you have a couple of stalks. So this is pretty much all of your lighting over here. Turn signal, regular headlights, high beams, front and rear fog lights as well. And over here is your front and rear wipers. Upper dash is nice, soft at the touch, and you also have a center channel speaker up there. And that brings me down to the center infotainment screen. So we'll kind of go through some of the features quick. You can find many other videos out there that'll go in depth. I am not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of show you the highlights. We have the navigation built in here, so you don't need the Apple CarPlay to get navigation, although this does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You have the radio screen here. All of your presets will show up right there, and you have tuning. You have the phone screen and a couple of different sort of consumption screens. Kind of gives you a bar graph right there, see what kind of trip settings and whatnot. You can also swipe from the top and get a couple of menus, such as the system settings. You can also swipe in back and forth, kind of like an iPad or a tablet or something like that. You get your driving modes up here. Various other things that we could turn on and off. So your lane keeping assist, you could turn that on and off. Parking assistance, so that's your parking sensor. Rear cross traffic alert, you could turn the auto start stop on and off. You can bring up your reversing camera at any time, and also fold down the rear headrest. Take a look at this. that's a pretty cool party trick. You have somebody back there who's annoying you, or you just want more visibility, just fold the headrest right down. It's a couple more things that you can position on and off, and it also has the wireless charging pad, which you could turn on and off again. We swipe to the other side, we have some sort of media controls up there, the sources for the radio, and then we could also have a couple of car status, so like when your oil change is due and things like that. Climate control is also pretty much all routed throughout the screen, so you tap on the bottom, you have your temperatures, heated seats and heated steering wheel down here for the driver and passenger, your passenger's temperature, and sort of the rest of the climate control, so the defrosters, AC recirculation, where you want the air to come out, and fan speed, and it's also automatic. So pretty cool, pretty intuitive screen. Now I have to say, sometimes I really don't like the climate controls being in the infotainment screen, and I kind of wish that there were physical controls, but not so much in the case of this car, because everything's pretty responsive. As you can see, everything you touch kind of happens pretty immediately. So in this case, not too bad. You have a small array of buttons down below the screen, so your hazards, quick defroster buttons there. I like that they included that. Very beautiful volume knob too here in the center with the pause play, and a little button to open up your glove box. Electronic release, and once you get inside, you have a little shelf system. It's illuminated and all felt lined in the bottom. As I said before, 8-speed automatic for all engine choices. You can see that the reversing camera pops up. 360-degree view camera is available, however this one does not come with it. You can turn on and off your guidance lines and things like that while you're in the reversing camera, so that's pretty cool. Shifting down into drive, you also get a manual mode, which you can go up and down right there. Engine start stop knob. We also have the electronic parking brake and an automatic brake hold. There's a couple of storage cubbies up here. You have a small one to put pencils and pens with a 12-volt power outlet, and a larger one that you could slide back where your wireless charging pad is for your phone, and a couple of cup holders. If you have more storage underneath this center console, you lift that up, you have all of the connections in there, so it looks like you have 2 USB connections inside. Up here you have a frameless auto-dimming rear view mirror with the 3-door garage home links. A couple of emergency controls with the Volvo on-call and SOS. The interior lighting, so everything's LED in here. And you also have one single control for the sunshade and sunroof. So take a look at that. Nice panoramic sunroof, very large as you've seen in the back. Once it opens up, it really airs up the cabin quite a bit. You can also tilt and slide the sunroof if you'd like to open it. A couple more things worth mentioning is the sun visor. You get the light and mirror in there, and the grab handle up there. So I think that pretty much does it for the interior of the XC90. That's enough of this. Let's get this thing out on the road. All right, let's take this 2022 XC90 around the block. So again, this is the T6 powertrain, 2-liter turbocharged inline 4 with a supercharger as well. 316 horsepower, so that's a pretty healthy number. 295 pound-feet of torque. So in this drive, I'm going to take around to this dead end, see what the turning circle is like first. Then we'll head out onto some sort of more main road and see what it's like at speeds up hopefully 40 to 45 miles an hour. See what the wind noise is like and also the ride. And then we'll get it up onto a nice Connecticut back road. Very good turning circle, by the way, for such a large SUV. It is a large SUV, but it really doesn't drive like it. Now I've driven plenty of these XC90s in the past, and it really does drive smaller than it is. So on those back roads, again, going back to what we're doing on this drive, we're gonna take it around. It's pretty good corners. Also, it gets pretty bumpy, so we'll get a feel for how it rides. Turning onto this main road, depending on how traffic is. Again, like I said, we'll hopefully get it up to 45, 50 miles an hour. Now, Volvo has really always been known for comfort, number one, and safety. So plenty of safety systems come standard with this car. And I can tell you right now, cruising at 50 miles an hour, super comfy, very, very comfy. Nice large mirrors too, so you can see what's in back. If you also plan on towing a small trailer, you'll have no problems because you have nice big mirrors. Very quiet as well, not a lot of tire noise and not a lot of wind noise. Just a really solid driving experience at this speed. Steering is pretty light and suspension is a little bit, it's definitely more on the comfy side, so you get a little bit of sway from the suspension if you toss it around a little bit. Now, this car does have a couple of driving modes, you know, off-roads, you know, dynamic and economy and comfort and stuff like that. It really doesn't make a whole lot of difference. So we're gonna turn on to this back road here, get it up to about 25 miles an hour, and we'll see how fast we can get it up to 60 from there. We'll test out that 316 horsepower. So yeah, pretty good power for a car of this size. It's definitely got some get up and go. You can really, as soon as I first stepped on it, you could hear that supercharger kind of wind up. It's a really cool sound. Actually, interestingly enough, when these first came out, I was talking to some technicians up at our Volvo dealership, and they were kind of explaining to me that the supercharger is almost on a clutch system. So when you don't need the extra power of the supercharger, it's not activated. So that gives you better fuel economy. It's just using the turbocharger. That was a pretty nasty bump back there too. It soaked it up very nicely. That is the key making a bunch of noise over there. Let's see if I can't slip that in my pocket. There we go. So again, this road here that we're going to take you on is a really good alliteration of a Connecticut back road. You know, if you live in sort of a kind of suburban, rural part of Connecticut, this is what all the roads look like. They're kind of curvy, lots of elevation change, and they're also pretty bumpy. This is a great car for cruising down these back roads because of the comfort suspension. You can also get air suspension with this vehicle. This one does not have it, but I can tell you that this is pretty comfy even though it doesn't have the air suspension. Steering is very light, as you'd expect. Doesn't give off a whole lot of feel. And I guess you can put it into a corner as we just did, but it's very wafty cornering experience for this car, but that's not what you're buying it for. So this is probably the worst section of the road here. And it seems to be just fine with soaking up the bumps. It looks like we're getting caught up in a little bit of traffic up here. But that gives us some time to talk a little bit more about these seats. These seats are unbelievably comfortable. And you can also, there's a few different seats you can get with this car. So this is, again, this is the base seat. If you get the inscription, I believe with one of the packages, there's a multitude of different things that you can adjust, such as the thigh extensions and the 4-way lumbar instead of the 2-way lumbar on this car. And it also has massaging and cooling features. And there's also a different set of seats for the R design. It's kind of more of like a bucket, you know, sort of a racing bucket seat, I guess you could say, that hugs you in very nicely, and it has like suede in the center. But just these seats are just fine, in case you're concerned. Very comfortable, good amount of thigh support too as it comes. And then you can also adjust the lumbar in and out, so that's pretty good. Now, since 2016, the XC90 has had sort of minor facelifts, but it's still pretty much the same basic car. And if you told me to take one good look at this car from 2016, I would say this is way ahead of its time. And when this car did come out in 2016, it was pretty ahead of its time. And it still looks absolutely beautiful. It's just a very classy interior, and it doesn't feel outdated whatsoever. You know, there's no lack of technology in here. There's no lack of design. All the build quality seems to be very nice. You know, all soft touch on the door panels, and these leatherette seats feel very nice in the hand. Coming up this last hill here, we'll give it a little half throttle acceleration and see what the transmission does. This car makes some pretty cool noises with the turbocharger sort of whoosh and the supercharger. All right, so what's the wrap-up thoughts on the 2022 Volvo XC90? It's a pleasure to drive. It's a very classy car, and comfort is the name of the game here with this. It's just an all-around great daily driver, and it's also a great car for a little bit of a larger family, since this is a 7-seater. You can also get this car in a 6-seater configuration, so bucket seats up front, bucket seats in the center, and another set of 2 seats in the third row. But very nice car, plenty of technology, plenty of power too, and a very comfortable ride, and a really good amount of features for the sort of base model, which is the Momentum that we have here. So to wrap up this video, I thank each and every one of you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like the video to help our channel out, and there's plenty more of these videos to come.